Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Welcome back. It's the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach, broadcasting from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Of course, a big shout out to all the bikers here. It is Biker Week in Ocean City, and looking forward to having them down and a lot of Biker Ravens fans as well. And guys, continue to talk about the offense. You know, Tony Lombardi was on last week, and myself, we were out there for the first day of padded practice. And you could really tell in training camp a difference with Joe Flacco in year number 5. I know it's a culmination, of course. He had 4 years of, I mean, he didn't miss a game. He played in all the playoff games as well. So he almost got an extra season in there, quite actually. He looked different, more in command, more assertive. I think that all carried over. I mean, everything's coming together when you take a look at the offensive personnel he has. And obviously, no matter what it was, whether they thought Joe in the previous years could do it or not, maybe they felt they had some offensive line issues, maybe they felt they just didn't have the personnel at the time to be able to do it, what have you, they're finally allowing Joe to be more in command, get up there, as John talked about in the last segment, have several seconds on the play clock to be able to change things and really take command and make audibles and all that. And you know, John, it showed.
Yeah, I tell you, and I get bashed because I tell the truth. You know what I mean? I'm
well, the truth in your eyes.
As you see it. Well, it is. I have
the truth the way you see it.
My heart bleeds purple, but I have a brain. And here's the deal with Joe. And this is what I got all last year, and I called it the year before last, that he just doesn't have the command. He just doesn't have the quarterback way. He doesn't have the brain. He just didn't have the brain to play the position. I called him lazy-minded. And that was clear last year. He didn't know it was like he was lost. He just was not a good field general. Well, that all changed. And then people said, well, what do you expect him to be, Aaron Rodgers? Well, who the heck is Aaron Rodgers? Who was Aaron Rodgers before he became Aaron Rodgers? He was a backup quarterback, you know, for 4 years. That was just some dude that no one even cared about. And then all of a sudden, he was average his first year or two, and then he became Aaron Rodgers. The Aaron Rodgers we know. Look at Drew Brees. Who was Drew Brees? Drew Brees was so good that they drafted Phillip Rivers. All right, so that's how good Drew Brees was. So when you work hard and you bust your tail and you get into the film room and you study and you learn the position and you become an expert at your craft, just like anybody's job, you just have a desire to be the best. Those guys clearly. Why can't he be Peyton Manning?
But are you saying that Joe Flacco didn't have that desire the first 4 years?
Absolutely. I think it's very clear.
I think that's ridiculous.
All the tools.
I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
He had all the tools to be the best, and he was not the best.
I just believe that, you know, one of the things that was frustrating to watch the Ravens offense in the past is that when they weren't in a no huddle, we would come out of the huddle and it looked slow and there was no.
He's the guy on the field.
But let me finish. When you have a great defense, your job is to slow the game down. You know, you want to hold on to the ball. You don't want to. You want to make the possessions key. You don't want to let the offense and tire out your defense. I can promise you that nobody
in the huddle says, "Guys, wait, there's 13 seconds on the clock. Hang out for a minute."
But that's why we huddled. That's why we ran the ball more. That's why Ray Rice was. We did checkdowns. You put it all on Joe Flacco. I put it more on Cam Cameron. The quarterback can only do what the head coach. It starts with the head coach first of all,
it does,
and then it goes down to the offensive coordinator. He's a soldier. He's not the leader of the team. He doesn't make those decisions.
Maybe that's the difference. Because the quarterback is the most difficult, most important position in all of sports. Is the quarterback.
No question.
On an NFL team.
Well, guys,
he runs the team. He drives the bus. And if he's just going to say, do I turn yet? And he's leaning out the window looking at the coach.
That's
And
his
guess
job.
what? You're going to run the bus off the cliff.
He can only
So that's
only call the plays they tell him to play. That's his job. Otherwise you find yourself on the
That's
bench.
why he was average. And now he's not average. And this is my point. You got this whole thing proves that he had the capability. This is like a coach saying, I wouldn't ask you for more if you couldn't give me more. If I thought Joe Flacco stunk, I wouldn't be on his case. He clearly doesn't.
John, every game where he was in a situation where we could bring us back to win, whether it was Arizona, whether it was Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh.
Or Jacksonville, Jacksonville last year?
No, he made the big plays to win games, the big games. So for you to say that he didn't have the brain or the talent to get things done, I disagree with that.
Was this the same quarterback Monday that we saw last year?
It's a totally different offense with
Against
totally
the
different weapons.
AFC Championship
It was a different. I agree. It was a different offense with a different philosophy.
And yes, and Bobby touched on it. I think you would agree. I think you did.
And he did in the New England game, yeah.
This is my point. He can do it. My point is, I always knew he could do it. So why aren't you doing it?
Well, but last year
he
it was
didn't do it.
Talk to John Harbaugh. Talk to Cam Cameron.
It's Cam.
I agree.
The statistics were terrible. Mark Sanchez had better statistics than Joe Flacco last year.
Mark Sanchez.
It's the truth.
Mark, you don't compare Mark Sanchez to Joe Flacco. It's
Andy
about
Dalton,
winning
a rookie
games.
out of some God knows where school.
It's about winning the game. It's about winning
So
games.
why isn't Ray Rice the most winningest running back in 4 years? Ray Rice is on the team too.
What do you mean? Why is it? He went to the playoffs the last 4 years.
So why aren't we
too?
saying Ray Rice is great? Or why isn't Michael Orr the best right tackle of all time because he won 44 games in the last 4 years?
We're not saying that they are. We're saying we're
They're
a
all
good
on the
football
field together.
team. We're a good team.
Well, when it comes to that leadership, and we talked about this, it was very well known that Cam Cameron and Joe probably weren't getting along the best they could. Joe was on TV last year, said, I run the plays that he
We don't know any of this. It's speculation.
Well, you're probably right, but you can't help but think Caldwell has something to do with it. They're running a different type of offense, and you know what?
All I'm saying is this was in Joe the whole time. What we saw Monday, and we'll see if it comes this Sunday.
He's a late bloomer.
What we saw was in him the whole time. I've been proven correct. I knew he could be a stud. I knew he could be the AFC Player of the Week. I knew he could be great, and that's why I was busting his shot. Here's playing ball. Playing ball. Let me tell you something. In school, whatever it work, if you're being left alone and your boss or your coach or your teacher isn't trying to push you to be better, that's when you should worry. That's when you know you suck. All right? When you're not being pushed. So when someone's saying you can be better, that means you've got it in you to be better. You can be better.
You don't think that the coaches were doing that?
It's clear they weren't. Because he was
John,
average.
We was
average.
We could debate this till the cows come home. The bottom line,
I know we could, because you guys need to get a brain. That's why you guys are just like you guys are like the scarecrow.
The bottom line is
you guys
AFC Player of the Week is the bottom line.
The bottom line is that AFC Player of the Week. The times have changed, and
I need to watch the game.
I think we've seen
your
that.
eyes, not your heart.
Now I know why you guys put me in the middle.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. We got to keep a buffer.
As long as he knows he's right, that's the most important.
But the bottom line is things have changed, and I feel a lot better about our chances in terms of being a balanced team offensively and defensively than ever before. I think we saw more 3 and 4 wide receiver sets in one game than we did maybe all of last year. So I think, again, it speaks a lot to the times are changing, the offense is changing. And, Ray Rice was really an afterthought at the beginning of that game. They threw to set up the run, that is. And when Ray Rice did run the ball, averaged 6.8 yards per carry. That's huge. And he did have 2 touchdowns for the fantasy football.
Yeah, we
players.
touched on this last week, and this is not an indictment, obviously, on Ray Rice, but we said, Mike, that he's probably going to have less of a role this year on this team because
which is a good thing.
It's a great thing. And John kind of made fun of this last week, but it's a good thing when the guy doesn't have to touch the ball as often. You keep him healthy. He has more tread on his tires. And when you have more weapons around him, the other guys can be effective. So they use him as a decoy. Our personnel is so hard to match up with. When you've got Ray Rice, Vontae Leach in the game, Dennis Pitta and Dixon, and 2 wides, if it looks like a run package, then they spread you out and go empty backfield. We did that a couple times. Ray Rice was wide a few times. So now you got a linebacker or a safety matched up on a tight end, and it's very difficult to cover. And I think that's what worked in our favor this week.
Joel, we talked about this last week. Anquan Bolden being able to get back into the slot, huge. And second leading receiver, 4 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown.
I thought he had a good game. It was a little questionable last year. Maybe it was where he was, where they were putting him, some of the routes they were running.
Absolutely.
But he obviously he came through. And back to touch on Ray a little bit too. you know, with the way that we're a pass-happy league now and the offense, the way it is, I don't think your running back should be your top receiver. He shouldn't be your leading receiver. So you know what?
It's not a bad play to get him involved. Don't get me wrong, but you don't want,
weapon.
You need to at least have one or two other receivers that are up there receptions.
We knew what was happening last year, and you know, this goes back to what John talked about. He'd look at one guy. If he wasn't there, he'd dump it to Ray.
He had a rookie. He had a rookie in Torrey Smith, and he had a guy who couldn't get separation.
Thank God. All I have to say is thank God Cam Cameron, after all these years in the NFL, thank God he finally figured out how to coach. You know, that's all I have to say. You know, finally.
I'm not as big as
finally learned how to coach. And here's the
well,
deal.
I think he's being sarcastic when he's saying that, folks. No, yeah.
Here's the deal with Ray. Ray's going to get his touches, and this game was just a game where we were picking them apart, and the play action was working. And when the play action and the 8 guys are flowing into the box and they know it, they're going to play action. They're going to throw the ball and chuck it down the field. It's a brand new offense, brand new team. There's confidence all over the place. Confidence is a dangerous thing. You know, it really, in our case, it's a good thing. So it's a tough schedule, and if they come out confident, I really believe this Eagles game is a game of the year. In a lot of ways, if the Ravens win this game, this could be a really lethal team. So we'll be seeing plenty of Ray Rice when the defense is really in game planning that they're going to have to respect the pass.
Let's remember what happened last year opening day. You know, we annihilated Pittsburgh and then laid an egg next week. So you know you're only as good as the next game.
Right.
So
no
that game's behind us, and they're ready to move on to the Eagles.
Yeah, and we're going to face a much better defense in terms of facing the pass, or they're facing the passing game. So we'll talk about that coming up a little bit. So I think all good points. You talk about the tight end position briefly. You know, Ed Dixon is that speedster, but man, Dennis Pitta, he just reminds you more and more of Todd Heap. Maybe a little better than Todd Heap at times. 5 catches, 73 yards. A guy that came off of a broken wrist, and he didn't miss a beat. And not that Dixon didn't have a couple of catches as well, but boy, Dennis Pitta looks to be that one of the safety blankets for Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I mean, when the tight end's extremely powerful in a play action game, that's why we're seeing the migration to these multiple tight end sets. And when you create mismatches that way, he did his Gronkowski impersonation. He was wide open. Some of these plays, and then when he wasn't wide open, he went up and made plays. That's another thing, guys, that we never really had was the trust that a quarterback has. You know, not all these quarterbacks, throw the ball and make perfect passes. They need a receiver that's going to go up and make a play. Yeah,
we just have a brief amount of time, but my one concern coming out of the game the other night, we talked about the offensive line, solid performance, but a couple of times and I realize Geno Atkins is very good, but Matt Burke got blown up a few times and caused a couple of sacks on Joe Flacco. I'm concerned you face these 3-4 defenses with nose tackles right over top. That's gonna be a problem.
Definitely, and we talked about it last week. Matt Burke, his staying healthy is key, and then him playing at a high level because he's getting up there in the years. The other thing that scared me, again, I'm the biggest Joe Flacco fan here, but Joe does always throw those 1 or 2 passes a game that could be picked. He got lucky a couple times. There was a couple passes that could have been picked. But you got to live with that because when you're throwing the ball around trying to make plays, there's going to be a couple plays in the game that he might get picked. You just got to come back and put some points on the board.
It's interesting. We come out of the game thinking at one point, I think it was a 3-to-1 pass-to-run ratio. Ended up being that they threw the ball about 9 more times. Still not bad, though, 32-23. So still somewhat balanced, but, it's a passing lead these days, and I expect that to be the case as the season wears along. We're going to be back with another segment. It's the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.